back to the Style and Beauty Doctor on YouTube, and in today's video we have another special guest. I love talking about skincare, but what I love more about talking about skincare is talking about skincare with other people in the skincare industry. So today we have Dr. Michelle Henry, board certified dermatologist. She's also my dermatologist. I've seen Dr. Michelle numerous times, which I've also recorded and posted here on YouTube, so check them out. But today we are going to be talking about pores because I just needed to get down to the nitty-gritty on pores because people are saying, oh, I'm gonna shrink my pores, and you know, this does this and this does. We just gonna get down to the nitty-gritty on pores, what we can actually do to treat them, things that you can do at home, but then also we want to talk about some in-office procedures as well. Like, what can the dermatologist do to treat these pores? Keep watching. Now, of course, proper pore maintenance includes properly cleansing your skin, which I have a video on, so make sure you check it out. But I wanted to talk to Dr. Henry about some in-office procedures and some other things about pores.
So, you know, it's tough. There are some things that can reduce the appearance of pores. It's hard because, you know, in medicine, we're always looking for studies, and we don't have really great studies. Like, we have a few that gives us some evidence of like pore reduction. So some of the ingredients that we have proof of reducing the pores are ingredients like retinol. Retinol and retinoids can help to stimulate collagen. And if you think of your pore as kind of the opening of a drawstring purse, if you increase the collagen around that opening, it closes it a little bit. And so that's how those ingredients like retinol, glycolic acid, with time can reduce the appearance of your pores because it's kind of like closing that mouth a little bit. When I think about pores, I kind of think of them as, let's say, the neck of a shirt. And with time and, you know, improper treatment to your skin and age, it can become kind of stretched out. And then you kind of lose your structure. So you lose elasticity as you get older. And when that goes away, it kind of gets loose and kind of stretched out. Of course, sun can accelerate that process. So we want things that are going to stimulate collagen to kind of close that pore. So topicals that can do it, again, glycolic acid and retinol. Chemical peels can do it because when we do that deep peel, we're telling the body to stimulate healthy, more robust tissue, more robust collagen. And lasers work in that same way by traumatizing the skin a little bit and stimulating the production of more collagen. So we literally just kind of close that pore a little bit. Other things that can help to reduce the appearance of pores, if you have really oily skin, then reducing the oiliness will make the pores look smaller. So ingredients like the retinol, of course, but also salicylic acid. So anything that's going to go into that pore, break down that clog, is going to make the appearance of the pores look smaller. So those are all kind of our mainstay treatments and tricks that we use to make the pores look smaller, but also become smaller. I'm always a kind of do no harm kind of person. So the first thing I'm going to do is give them a retinol or retinoid. And then I'll talk about chemical peels because chemical peels are really good. There's some peels that I love for acne and clogged pores, glycolic acid peels, salicylic acid peels. There's a peel called the Jessner's peel, which is really good for getting into those pores. So I would do those next. And then, you know, for texture and tone, I could always do a laser. But I usually start with either topicals or chemical peels for clogged pores. So what we're doing is creating structure around the pore so that the pore appears to be smaller.
Okay. But we're born with the pore size that we're born with. And a lot of that has to do not only with genetics, but also your race as well, right?
Exactly. So there are some studies, of course, not great studies that look at race and pore size. And those studies, of course, I'd love to see more robust studies. They show that likely women of Asian descent may have smaller pores, and then women of African descent may have larger pores, women and men. But I'd love to see some more robust studies to really pinpoint that. But race plays a role. Genetics, so from your parents, that plays a role. And then, of course, based on whatever size you were born with, you can exaggerate that pore more through pore practices like excess sun and being harsh with your skin and things like that. So yeah, it's, you know, for a chemical peel, again, depending on the strength, could range anywhere from 200 to 600. You know, you can always start out with a more superficial peel, which is typically a little bit less expensive, and work your way up to having a stronger peel. But that's about the range, you know, for a retinoid prescription. You know, it can range anything from being completely covered to having to pay, you know, $20 or $40 to having to pay $100, and that range depends on your insurance. There are some retinoids that are prescription, but they're cosmetic, and so it's more of a cost out of pocket. And so those usually range $100 to $150 if you want one of the more elegant prescription retinoids. But the nice thing is that we have so many different options at so many different price ranges that if you give us your price range, we can typically find something that works for you. It depends on your skin type. So I love salicylic acid because it can go deep inside the pore and break up that clog. So it depends on the type of skin that you have. Both can work well, but if you're someone who is just really struggling with blackheads, and you know you're actually seeing that blackhead, that clog at the opening of your pore, you may want to also make sure you're incorporating a chemical that can actually make its way into that pore and really break down that clog without having to be really aggressive with your manual exfoliation. Yeah. If you look at skincare companies and you look at the language will usually say reduce the appearance. It's hard to objectively study that. There are a few studies, like in the actual medical literature, where they actually use scanning devices to look at the sizes of the pores, to look to see if it actually reduces the size of the pore. And again, when we say reduce the size, like you noted, are we actually reducing the actual pore? Are we just changing the environment around the pore so it looks smaller? I'm not sure that we have fantastic data for that. At least our understanding of what happens is that we stimulate collagen and it kind of chokes the pore so the pore looks smaller. And I believe that a lot of that is what's happening. Are we actually changing the structure of the pore? A little less likely. I think that we definitely need bigger studies, but I think our ultimate goal is that the pores appear smaller. That's what we want. So if they appear smaller through any of those treatments, and that makes me happy. Absolutely, because we keep aging and our pores can get older with age. As we lose that collagen, as we lose that elasticity, you know, the pores are going to get a little loose and floppy again because they're losing their structure. So the way I think about lasers, I think of lasers as setting back the clock, you know, and hopefully with good skincare, good sun protection, you can hold your results for a very long time. But it can come back again, absolutely.
So, you know, I gotta come through my little bootleg Dr. Oz kind of props when it comes to some of these skincare videos. So say, for instance, this is the skin, and those little pock marks there are pores, right? So the skin's kind of snatched, it's kind of together, and then look what happens as we age and you lose some of that elasticity. So you see how the pores are kind of looking bigger and stretched out? But then, like, if you do something to get the skin snatched, it kind of looks as if the pores are now smaller, right? But the pore size never changed. It was just the elasticity around the skin that changed. So that's kind of how I kind of like, you know, make my own little like analogy when it comes to the pores. One thing I also want to note is that when it comes to peels, chemical peels, the dermatologist versus the esthetician, typically what you get in the dermatologist might be stronger, it might be more aggressive, it might have a higher concentration than what you would get from an esthetician. Now that's because some of these concentrations of whatever the active ingredient is for the peel can only be available by prescription, and you know, that's something that a dermatologist would have access to that an esthetician would not. So keep that in mind. And I mean, she doesn't need me to co-sign because, you know, she says she's got a whole medical degree and like decades of experience, but I'm with Dr. Michelle when it comes to, you know, taking things easy and then seeing what the skin can tolerate. Now, skin is different. Some people have more sensitive skin than others. Some people can tolerate, you know, numerous actives on top of each other, like in the same session. But I'd rather take ease in and take my time because I don't want to have two issues. I don't want to try to treat, you know, pores and then now have a burn on my face because I went a little too hard with the acids. And now I've like got to treat the burn and I still got to treat my pores. So myself personally, I'd rather, you know, inch my way in. Take it slow and then inch my way in, than to go hard and have 2 issues to deal with. So hopefully this video gave you a better understanding on pores, how to treat them at home so that you give the appearance of having smaller pores. And you got to learn a couple of things that you can do as an in-office treatment to treat them as well. So make sure you check out Dr. Michelle. I'll have the information on where you can set up an appointment with her in the description box. And also in the description box are going to be some blog posts, some videos, and other things that you want to check out. Because like I said before, Dr. Michelle and I have done videos before, and you can see my whole like filler and Botox and laser hair removal and all that other stuff right here on YouTube. Follow me on social. The links will be in my description box. And I will see you fine folks in my next video. Bye guys.